Hello guys, welcome back to TFD. Today, we need to talk about this whole situation with Michael Porter Jr. and the firestorm he accidentally or maybe intentionally kicked up. If you missed it, MPJ was on camera the other day talking with, I believe, LaMelo Ball about how 7th, 8th, and 9th grade boys, not grown men, not NBA stars, just middle school versions of future hoopers, would absolutely run through the entire WNBA. And look, I get it. Some people don't want to hear that. But we're not talking about 25-year-old elite NBA athletes. We're talking about boys who are years away from shaving consistently. And yet the outrage? Whew, you would think MPJ insulted someone's family tree. This is the thing we've always tried to keep real about on this channel. I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not here to pretend reality is something else just to avoid hurting someone's feelings. Sports are sports. Biology is biology. Competition is competition, and there are certain truths that everybody knows but nobody wants to say because they're scared of online backlash. Well, I'm not. And apparently, neither is Michael Porter Jr. because he just said the quiet part out loud. And now we've got Angel McCoughtry, someone who usually seems level-headed, turning this into an emotional TED Talk. The level of triggered energy coming off that reaction? Oh, come on, seriously. She's acting like MPJ declared war on the entire league. She literally said, nobody's supposed to talk about this. Nobody's supposed to ever bring it up. Why not? Who made that rule? Is this some kind of bubble where certain topics are banned from reality? Because if you want grown-up sports conversations, then guess what? Uncomfortable truths come with the territory. That's not hate, that's not disrespect. That's just acknowledging what every coach, scout, trainer, and fan already knows. And then you have Sophie Cunningham, who also stepped in with her own comments. I don't even think Sophie was as emotional about it. She actually kept it more grounded. But still, the fact that people are acting like MPJ committed a crime by expressing an opinion that most sports fans consider common sense, it's wild. Angel, though, she's out here ranting like the NBA and WNBA exist in the same physical reality. Like somehow saying a 14-year-old elite boy could hang with pros is blasphemy. Look, no disrespect, but nobody outside the Twitter bubble cares about these rants. The average sports fan hears this debate and shrugs, not because they hate the WNBA, but because they understand the difference between men's basketball, women's basketball, and high-level developmental pipelines. And the level of butthurt from some of these reactions, man, it is something else. At the end of the day, you can get mad, you can tweet, you can yell at clouds, but it doesn't change the truth. And telling people they're not allowed to talk about something? Nah, not happening. Not here. Sorry. Actually, not sorry at all.
Angel, why are men so obsessed with this conversation?
First of all, congratulations. You was dominating against women in the 8th grade. What does he want? Does he want a cookie? You want a medal for that? Like, the only thing that should be coming out of a man's mouth about women is uplifting her. I think the main thing we should be talking about, a woman, guess what? When I gotta come and drop 40 and I'm on my fucking period and I'm bleeding and my stomach hurts and my back hurts when y'all load manage off a headache, let's talk about how awesome that is. Let's talk about how awesome it is that women, we have these babies and we come back and still dominate sports. That stuff is not, yeah, you can dunk. A lot of us can't do that, but the awesome things we can do, let's highlight that. Let's highlight that. Guess what? We are wives. So it's not easy to take care of a husband and kids and come and dominate a sport. Let's talk about how strong and awesome that is. And so if you notice real quick, the elites, Kobe don't say that kind of stuff about us. He never did. He only uplifted us and supported us. Bron don't talk that kind of stuff. Why the elites don't talk like that?
This is a narrative from Michael Porter Jr. Do you have any thoughts on him?
He talks about the WNBA a lot. I would love to see him come practice with us one time. Come practice with us. I think he needs to see the ins and outs of how hard we do work and how much we do put our bodies through. Because sometimes they just look through this lens from the outside and they don't really see the inside. And I think if he came and spent the day with us, he would have a new appreciation.
When she was playing, the WNBA schedule was what? 32 games? Maybe 34 at most? Now they're up to 40 plus, around 44. Meanwhile, the NBA has been grinding through 81 games for decades. So when she talks about load management, I'll be real, she's not wrong about that part. Load management is nonsense. But this idea that the only thing that should come out of a man's mouth is no, miss me with that. That's where it goes off the rails. Because neither of the guys having this conversation were trashing the WNBA, not one bit. Michael Porter Jr. and LaMelo Ball weren't sitting around trying to disrespect women. They weren't saying WNBA players are trash or unskilled or incapable. They simply pointed out something anyone with functioning eyes already knows. That's it. And acting like stating the obvious is some kind of attack, come on. Let's not pretend every WNBA player is elite. Some are great, some aren't. Same as every league on earth. And MPJ, he's out here averaging basically 25 a night in the NBA. You show a clip of 8th grade Michael Porter Jr., it's obvious what he's saying. The physical difference alone tells the whole story. You can't deny it. When I made that video the other day, someone reminded me of something I had totally forgotten. The U.S. women's national soccer team, with Megan Rapinoe, lost badly to a group of 13 and 14-year-old boys from Dallas. That happened. It's not an insult, it's a fact. These guys weren't attacking women. They were just having a conversation grounded in reality. But then here comes the "I don't want to hear anything from a man's mouth" rhetoric. Look, if your priority is family, motherhood, whatever, that's great. But don't turn it into a shield. If you can't or don't want to juggle both, just say that. People would respect the honesty. But pretending facts are offensive, that's crazy to me. Sorry. Actually, not sorry at all. Sophie Cunningham has now stepped into the conversation, and trust me, it won't be long before they start coming after her too. Because Sophie kept it real, brutally real. I'll give her credit, she might be the most genuine, grounded player in the entire WNBA. She didn't dodge, she didn't deflect, she didn't act offended just to score points online. She gave an honest, level-headed take that actually made sense. And the moment a WNBA player isn't delusional about this stuff, people lose their minds. But Sophie, she said the truth out loud, and some folks just can't handle that.
Sophie Cunningham on MPJ saying he could have beat an WNBA team when he was in 8th grade. I mean, it's probably true.
It's probably true, Cunningham said, Berklet Sports. I don't want to be unrealistic or delusional. Men are just stronger, bigger, and more athletic. They're built differently. So if you put them against females, well, yeah, they're going to win. Duh. If you're a professional football player, basketball player, really any sport, but let's stick to basketball since that's what we're both at, to me, if you're in that elite group, yes, you should be able to beat girls.
Well, so I will just tell you, I was working out. And when did this tweet, can you scroll down? When did this tweet come out yesterday? I guess this started kind of hitting social media platforms, but I'm not kidding. I think maybe 35 people sent me this tweet yesterday. And yeah. I was like, what? But he said this kind of I feel like a year or at least 4 or 5 months ago, something kind of regarding the same topic. So I thought it was just kind of resurfacing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw it and I was like, people are kind of going in on it because it doesn't the timeline doesn't make so much sense.
Well, from what I gathered, he basically was trying to say no one should compare NBA and WNBA players together because he could beat you guys in basketball in one-on-one when he was in 8th grade and you guys were in high school.
I think, and this is my personal opinion, but if you are a professional football player, basketball player, really any sport, but let's just take it basketball because that's where we're both at. To me, if you're in that elite level group, yeah, you should be able to beat the girls. I'm not surprised by that. That is not but I just don't get why it's continuing to get brought up. And if women are saying that he couldn't beat them, yeah, he could. Any NBA star or player could beat a female in high school.
Okay, I agree. I think people are like, why are you still like everything he's ever said is like men and women, him just like being so weirdly insecure about women being around him and like their like reflection of him. I think it wouldn't be that big of a deal if he hasn't been talking about women so much the last like 2 years.
Well,
you know?
Why did it, like, what was this a response to? Like, I haven't watched anything. I haven't watched
wanted to know the same thing. What was the response?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to look this up on Perplexity real fast and ask, because it'll be faster. The original prompt discussion was about whether elite male teenagers in middle school or high school could beat or dominate WNBA players. Porter said, I'm probably going to go with 8th grade. I have real experience doing this. Okay, so that is fair.
Yeah, the context of it is fair. Yeah.
He was asked, at what age do you think men could beat WNBA players? And his take was 8th grade. Do you think an 8th grader could hang? A group of elite 8th graders could beat a WNBA team?
I mean, if they're future pros, dude, I mean, it just depends how big they are at that age. Like,
well,
And the majority of the time, if they're going pro, unless you're a late bloomer, like you're already pretty big. And like, I mean,
they're massive 8th grade boys.
Yeah. So I would say that's like probably
honestly
true.
Fuck, I don't want.
I mean, it's probably true. Like I don't want to be unrealistic or delusional. Like, men are just stronger, bigger, athletic. Like, they just are a different build. And so if you put them up against females, I'm like, well, yeah, they're gonna win. Duh.
Here's my biggest question.
I mean, Sophia's got it completely figured out. She understood the assignment from the jump. And honestly, the outrage around this whole thing is ridiculous. People keep asking, why are they even talking about women? Because it's their podcast? That's literally the entire point of having a podcast. Having real conversations. You sit down with a co-host, hit record, and talk about whatever comes up. That's the format. That's the job. So these guys start talking, the topic naturally leads to the comparison, and they state something obvious. NBA players, even their younger versions, would absolutely dominate WNBA players. Not because the WNBA is bad, not because women can't hoop, but because biology exists. And somehow stating something factual turned into a full-blown firestorm. Of course it did, because Angel McCoughtry jumped in and completely lost it. For what? Why? Why not just say, yeah, he's not wrong, and keep it moving? But no, the ego gets involved. Suddenly, it becomes a rant about disrespect, motherhood, being wives, doing it all, blah, 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 and none of it has anything to do with the original point. They even tried to flip it around and drag NBA players as if that somehow proves anything. And look, I'm with her on load management. That part is fair. I can't stand it either. But acting like NBA players don't play more games? Come on. They've been running through 81-game seasons for decades. Meanwhile, the WNBA went from 32 to 34 to 40, and now roughly 44. So let's not pretend workload is even close to comparable. That's what makes Sophie Cunningham stand out so much. She kept it 100% real. She didn't get emotional, she didn't twist the conversation, she didn't pretend reality was something else. She simply said what every normal, rational person already knows. That's why she's so well liked, not just among WNBA fans, but across all of basketball. She talks like a real human being, not an activist looking for a moment. And that right there highlights one of the WNBA's biggest problems. A handful of players treat every topic like a culture war battle, while someone like Sophia just speaks truth and moves on. She isn't triggered, she isn't delusional, she doesn't need to manufacture outrage. She gets it, and people respect that. This whole backlash is nothing but feminist-triggered nonsense. Sophia said what everyone else was scared to admit. Tell me what you think. Don't forget, like and subscribe.